It's working on it. There we go. It's live.
On this week's show, Peterson's leaving on a jet plane, and it'll be 3 weeks before he's back again. Netflix is replacing its gaming studio with an AI studio. Multiverses cost WB Discovery $100 million, and PS5 Pro scalpers are selling their consoles at a loss. After that, we go IRL and compare vacations to gaming. Then I review Little Nightmares 2 for Dice of Destiny. You just logged into the 3-Bit Gamer Show. Welcome to the 3-Bit Gamer Show. I'm JD.
And this is Peterson.
It's a long one.
I know JD I was like, breathe, JD.
No breathing. Just going to race through it as fast as I can.
I think we did that one time. You tried to do it all in one breath.
Yeah, I'm sure it didn't go well.
Yeah, you probably nailed it. I have full confidence in you.
I'm way good at podcasting. Live from the 3-Bit Gamer Show. The news. All right, our news this week, as with all weeks, is brought to us by the fine folks at Crave Cookies.
Crave!
I'm sorry, I clicked away for a second.
Crave Cookies is this cookie shop. You can go check out the cookies they have this week at cravecookies.com or on their app. Or you can listen to this podcast and we'll tell you what's coming out the week after this week. This is primo information. You can't get this anywhere else other than outside of buying a Crave Cookies franchise. It's the only other way you guys will ever know the cookie menu 3 days in advance. I mean, it's a big deal. This upcoming week, we've got the monthly cookie, the Brookie, still going on. The pumpkin toffee.
What
that is? Sounds dope. Pumpkin cookies every freaking week.
I love
cookies
toffee.
and caramel, which is the Oreo cookie that has caramel inside of it for some reason. The Fluffer Nutter Butter. This is my jam. This is my jam.
This is
I love the peanut butter cookie and I love fluff. Last one here is the banana cream pie for you fanatics.
Oh my gosh.
I have had people walk into the store, ask if we have the banana cream pie that week. And then when I say no, sorry, they just leave. They don't get a consolation cookie. They don't even consider the menu. They're like, I'm here for one thing and one thing only. It's the banana cream pie cookie.
Dude, honestly, that cookie should come back every other week.
People
are so crazy about it.
Yeah. So that's the week coming up. Go to cravecookies.com to find yourself a location. There's probably one near you. And hey, if you're around like Orlando, new one this week, come chill. Come say hi. Come buy a cookie. Come get a free cookie. I have to make 1,500 chocolate chip cookies.
Easy.
In like 2 days next week.
No problem.
I did the math and the speed I make them. If I have 8.5 hours nonstop doing nothing else, I can make that many by myself. So it can't be that hard to do with a whole store, right?
It's hard though when you keep stopping to eat cookie dough, JD. You can't eat the cookie dough.
Oh, that's stop. Okay. I just take an N95 mask and I just shove a ball of cookie dough in there, and it's like a feed trough. I just sit there with a feed bag on my face. Perfect.
No one even knows. That's the crazy part. Except for
they're like, wow, he's just really safe and responsible. I like that he's filtering his air. I'm like, blah, blah, blah.
He's just licking a ball of cookie dough the whole time.
Hey, that's how I work, dog. That's how I do. Go to Crave Cookies and get your cookie on. Sony's super mega boss has acknowledged that people hate being forced to sign into PlayStation accounts, but insist they must do it to keep games safe. What does that mean?
Safe?
This is our dog, Hiroki Totoki. I think the thread is starting to unravel a bit with our friend who tries to do every single job at Sony. This seems micromanaging. I can't believe he has to get down to this level where he's talking about the sign-in requirements that PC players have been struggling with with Sony games, with PlayStation games that have been ported to the PC. One of the more recent ones is Helldivers 2 requiring a login, and people were freaking out about that. And also Horizon Zero Dawn, I think the remake or something that was on PC. Oh, because it just hit PC for the first time, and people had to sign into a Sony account. There's actually that big a warning now on their Steam page that says you have to have a PlayStation account to play this. All of this shit, and Hiroki Totoki was commenting about it And he said, for live service, this is a quote, and it is a translation. For live service games, in order to maintain order of the gaming so that anybody can enjoy the game safely, we need to create an environment conducive to that. And, of course, enjoying the game freely. So here he's basically admitting there's no use case for single player games, but basically it is what it is. And it's kind of funny because if you read these translations, there's even a caveat in this article that, it's like, this is kind of awkward wording, but it is a straight translation. And I think the issue here, and I don't speak Japanese, but I'm fairly sure the issue is that it's hard to translate because he's hedging so much. It's just it's hard to translate nonsense. In this like corporate speak where they're just like trying to make it seem like they've answered the question, say enough words that the person answering the question is, has the semblance of being satisfied before they go write it down. And they're like, he didn't fucking say anything. He didn't answer my question at all. He just said a bunch of fucking buzzwords. I think that's what Hiroki did here. They tried, the translator's like, what is he talking about?
Safety or like what?
Basically, it is what it is. That's what he's saying. Fucking deal with it. That's the future. You want to play a PlayStation game, you sign in because I have to pad these stats. We have to make it look like we have tons of people logging in to justify that we're putting these games on PC because apparently it's not enough to just sell the game. We have to collect your data.
We have to know exactly what you're doing on the game. We need to know who's playing it.
So
we need to know.
Stupid.
Yeah.
They can't. I don't see where like the monetary connection is there. I mean, it's such a stretch from like you require me to log into Sony, PlayStation, online, whatever the fuck to play Helldivers 2. And somewhere down the line that adds to Sony PlayStation's bottom line. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. That doesn't make you a dime at any point ever in the future. I think that's crazy.
It's always on it. And look, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. They're new to PC. Okay. They don't understand that it is the most obnoxious thing ever. When you buy a game on Steam or whatever, you go to boot it up and it sends you to their external thing. And they're like, sign in. And you're like, I don't know my sign in. Or I've never created one. So you just got to like create it. It's like, go verify your email. So then I got to go log into my email and verify the email.
And now I know I'm going to have to turn off 5 different flavors of spam emails that your company's going to send me. They're like, no, we just thought you wanted to be signed up for this marketing email. And you unsubscribe from all. And they're like, oh, you unsubscribed from all the marketing emails, but these are marketing and communication emails. So you'll have to unsubscribe from these separately every fucking time.
So that's, look, I'm just going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say they're new to PC. They don't quite get it. They're used to being in their own ecosystem. Where like you're already signed in, so they get all that data and they want a little bit more. They want to keep that control, and they're gonna have to at some point relinquish some of that control because we don't like it. We don't like it. No. We don't want to do it. It's just don't make us.
This is a wild fight to pick, and it seems like God, this got to be a headache for him to even be asked these questions. Is so for the level of jobs he's doing, this is so nitpicky and stupid. They should just drop it. It's ridiculous.
I think so too.
Days after shutting down its AAA game studio, Netflix has announced a quote new initiative powered by AI.
Oh, perfect.
So much cheaper than people.
Yeah, people are stupid and they complain and stuff. AI, when they start complaining, they just like take over the world. That people,
and finally they fucking nuke us. Ugh.
Been waiting for it.
Nice. We talked a little bit about this, I think last week, the Netflix game studio that headhunted a bunch of really big names from people from like the God of War studio, Overwatch. And before they ever even made a game, they shut it down. And so what we've got next is a LinkedIn post from Mike Verdu, who was the founder and former vice president of Netflix Games, which you're thinking, wait, isn't Mike Verdu out of work? Is that what I'm reading about? Because he got laid off because he was head and founder of a game studio within Netflix that was shuttered after not producing a single game. So it just cost millions upon millions of dollars and it didn't make any money. So we can expect that Mike Verdu is out of work, right?
Yeah, he's top of the chain. Gotta go, right?
Yeah, because in corporate America, at the top of the food chain, if you're making the calls and making the mistakes, you're paying for those mistakes. No, not in 2024's America. No, because Mike Verdu is now the vice president of Gen AI for games. I believe this is exactly what we refer to when we say talk about people failing upwards. This is a little excerpt from his LinkedIn post. At long last, I am ready to talk about what I am doing next.
Oh, we've all been waiting with bated breath. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike Verdu, you fucking blowjob. I am working on driving a once-in-a-generation inflection point. He puts quotes around once in a generation. Who are we attributing that to? You?
Himself. Yeah, he'd been saying that a
Fuckhead.
lot in the office.
For game development and player experiences using generative AI. This transformational technology will accelerate the velocity of development and unlock truly novel game experiences that will surprise, delight, and inspire players. Now, we're kind of making fun of this guy, but everything he's said here, for the most part, actually sounds okay. Because if the idea here, because we've talked about this a lot, that it takes a ton of fucking time and money and effort to make a video game. And if AI can slow that or can speed that up from an 8-year cycle like fucking Concord went through to like 2 years, well, yeah, we're going to get a lot more games out a lot faster. We're going to build them quicker, and maybe we can just use AI to do the menial parts and keep the human creativity aspect. And that I could see it. I could see it. However, a lot of that, if not all of that, rings extraordinarily hollow after you just shut down your internal gaming studio after they made 0 fucking games. And then you come in here and say you're going to transform the entire fucking industry and you're going to revolutionize how video games are made. Mike Verdu, how far up your ass is your head? How the fuck can you really write this down after all this shit goes down? And the best part is he finishes this entire long post with this whopper. Quote, pay no mind to the uninformed speculation in the media about the changes in Netflix games. What you've seen over the last several months was actually a planned transition. You asshole.
Yeah,
fuck you, Mike Verdu.
Worse.
Yeah, so he says,
hey,
we
wanted to get rid of all these people.
Yeah, so after all this bullshit, he's like, don't think that I ever did anything wrong. The media, the fake news are the real assholes. And we plan to do this all along. Wait a sec. Just because you plan to do it doesn't make it less true. What the fuck, dude? You got a shitbird clip? Because this is Mike Verdu, Netflix VP and constant failer, is our shitbird of the week.
And let me tell you something, shitbird.
You win.
Great job, Mike.
A new survey found that 21% of all European game industry workers were laid off last year.
21%?
20%. Now, that doesn't mean they're all still laid off. In fact, a number of them have, 15% of everyone was able to find work. The people that were laid off. So
wait, 15% of the people laid off, or 6% of the people laid off or not?
15% of all European industry workers were laid off and found new work. 6% were laid off and are still searching. So that combines to a 21% total that were laid off. This comes from a new survey called the Big Games Industry Employment Survey from a firm called In-Game Job. In-Game Job. Dude, tons of cool shit from this survey, by the way. This is just cool information. I'm just going to read through it. You guys can know this stuff. Look, we're making you smarter instead of just fart noises and making you dumber. Enjoy it while it lasts. So it lasted 12 seconds. 74,000 people were employed across the European game sector last year. That seems pretty decent.
That's good.
That is split between over 5,000 development and publishing studios, which also seems like 15 people on average per studio. Seems about right. Yeah.
Yeah, there's I feel like out of Europe, we've been getting a bunch of little little stuff out of Europe. And then there are studios who make games, but they're like not gigantic, right? They're not 2,000, 3,000 employees. These are, 80, 50,
Yeah.
So
the European game industry made $35 billion last year. To America's game industry, or the United States game industry, made $50 billion. So it's actually pretty close. I would be curious to know, now that we know that 74,000 people work in Europe in games, what that number is in America, just for comparison, because I have a feeling it's more than double. It's got to be way more than that, right? I mean, the fucking industry is bearing like 20,000 layoffs. There's got to be a decent amount of people in the U.S. And the last stat here that I really thought was interesting is that 19% of the people that they surveyed had over 10 years of experience in games.
Wow.
Which, that's what I said. That seemed a lot higher than I would have guessed. I would have guessed 5.
Yeah, like 5, 6, 7,
A
maybe.
fifth
And
of
I feel like a 6-year person would be a veteran.
Yes, 10 years is insane. 10 years.
10 years, like you're like ready to retire. Like you've been there forever.
I think it's better employee protections in Europe that is directly responsible for that. That would be my guess. But yeah, I think that's cool. 1 in 5 game devs in Europe is like an ultra veteran, 10 years plus.
Man,
that's a promising, dude. If I don't know, this just reads as promising, I guess, for the industry in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of my takeaway from this, is like, seems like they have a lot of people, and the industry is healthy enough that, when 15% of people were laid off, they were able to find work within the same year. That's not what that would not be what I would be expecting in the US.
No, that's not the case here.
Like, people are laid off and they just leave. They're just gone. They're like, okay, bye. That sucked. I hated working in that industry.
Hey, there's one interesting fact in this that I noticed. If you look at that gender pay gap one.
I missed that.
That bar chart in there, the gender pay gap, the very bottom bar is HR. And we're doing great because the men make less than the women in HR.
Wow. An inverse gender pay gap?
Dude,
is such a thing possible?
Being a guy in HR, I am. Listen, this is the only time a white guy is going to be the minority ever, because I am the only guy in almost every meeting I'm on. Like,
dude, I feel like that was both of us.
There'll be 20 people on the call. I'm the only guy on the call. And it feels weird because I'm like, if I speak up, like, they're going to notice, right? And so
who's the deep voice?
Yeah, who's the deep voice on the call? They refer to us as deep voices. The deepies. Yeah, I thought that was kind of funny. Oh, we got a deepie, everyone. Sink your periods and get them.
Holy shit. Warner Brothers Discovery is now calling Multiverses a $100 million loss. That is, if you guys have forgotten, because these things happen so fast, they just called Suicide Squad a $200 million loss. These guys have lost over $250 million in a year. Now, Warner Brothers Discovery is like fucking new. It was like David Zaslav and the CFO Gunnar Winsfeld. These guys that just think they're fucking geniuses. They come in, they make Warner Brothers. They start writing off. They just like, I think it was a Supergirl movie. They just are like, it was made and like ready to go. And they're like, no, fuck that. No one ever gets to see that. And there was like that was
Batgirl. That was Batgirl.
Batgirl. That's what it was. They were making just insane fucking decisions. And of course, the same assholes that are like pushing for Hogwarts Legacy to be a big multiplayer gotcha game. Also, they're, I'm pretty sure, directly responsible for why they cut Quidditch out of Hogwarts Legacy so they could make, what was it, Quidditch Champions
game,
Harry Potter Quidditch Champions, which was another huge flop. The only game they fucking managed to get out the door this year, and it sucked too.
These guys, I feel like I don't know what it is. Like these guys come in here and just make the worst decisions. If I was to be like, okay, WB, what's your big game going to be? What's your first game going to be? And they're like, we got to do Smash Bros, Super Smash Bros competitor. Like historically, there are no good Smash Bros competitors.
But wait, because this is fucking amazing how many mistakes they stacked on top of that. So first of all, they're like, yeah, we're going to do a Smash Bros game with all our guys and all of our properties and IPs that we control. They're like, okay, let's ship that, whatever. They release it and people play it and they're like, it's okay. It's kind of mid.
Yeah.
But it's like whatever. So instead of being like, let's work on it, let's talk to the community, let's try to build, they just pull it. So that's mistake number 2. We'll call that 2, where they just pull it back and they're like, we're gonna revisit and we're just gonna go back, take it back to Santa's workshop and work on it. We'll bring it back. So they re-release it, like 8 months later or some shit. I can't remember. Which is mistake number 3, and it bombs. It's worse than before. People are like, what the fuck? You spent 8 months on this or however long? This is way worse. And then after 2 months after that relaunch of just like abject failure and the game is not being received well and they're barely clearing 1,000 concurrent players on a day, they bought Player First Games. They bought the fucking studio that makes it. After all of those failures and all of those mistakes all the way up there, and they waited for 2 months after the fucking game came out and bombed. And then Zaslav, in his infinite wisdom, was like, it was a great decision. We should buy those guys. The guys that have just been absolutely failing miserably with our IPs. We should own them. That's the way to make it better. What? These guys are incapable of making not even like a good decision, but like a non-bad decision. Like a decision that isn't god-awful terrible and isn't going to cost them like hundreds of millions of dollars decisions. How the fuck can you cost your company $300 million fucking dollars in a calendar year and still have a motherfucking job? What the fuck?
You should, yeah, this is, what are they doing?
This is crazy.
And yeah, you're right though. They have consistently made like horrible decisions. I could see. I played Multiverses. I could see the draw to it. Like it was medium interesting, but again, it was not as fun as Smash Bros. So it was like, I don't know, like what. And obviously, like the problem with these fighting games, any of them, Smash Bros has, I don't know, like 100 billion characters, like 60 characters or something crazy. They release it with, 20 characters. It's just not enough. You know what I mean? You just like it's not really
boring.
And they all kind of have been like that. All the ones I've played. And it's just like, I don't know. It's like an okay game. Like the game's not bad. It doesn't look bad. It's not playing bad. But like, how are you going to keep me interested? It just didn't have the staying power of Smash Bros. I don't know what I would have them do if they were to do like a crossover game like that, because the idea of it is more fun than I think the actual play of it. But the other piece is they're doing zero things creatively, right? This is a Smash Bros clone. There are 6 or 7 games out there like this. Brawlhalla is probably the next successful one. It's been around for a long time. So yeah, they're not doing anything interesting with their IPs or creative. They came out with then they did the Suicide Squad, which was the most generic thing they could have done with that IP.
And this was his response. This was Zaslav's takeaway after all of these admissions of failures. He said, "We're focusing our development efforts on those core franchises with proven studios to improve our success ratio." First of all, don't talk like that. Don't say improve our success ratio. Just go out and lay in fucking traffic if you feel the need to talk like that. Fuck you. Improve our success.
Okay, so like here's the thing. That's the types of thing you talk about in your like in your
This is-
C-suite meetings.
Yes, this is a creative pursuit. We're
Yeah.
trying to excite, in this instance,
We want you guys to
investors.
be stoked about this awesome new
And
game
this
we're
is
making.
the best you can do is saying, we're going to try to impress. Dude, motherfucker, you're supposed to be making video games. And this guy is trying to make money. Wow,
Yeah.
I found the fucking problem. If you are a washing machine company and instead of trying to make a washing machine to try to make fucking money, well, your washing machines will fucking suck and no one will buy your fucking washing machines. How is it so fucking hard to understand? $300 million and you still don't fucking get it? Oh, I'm so sick of this, dude.
JD got a little it's like face is red. He got a little triggered on this one.
I'm so sick of just like abject failure, and they're ruining fucking everything, and people are getting laid off and people's lives are being ruined. So these losers can just continue to fail. I don't know how they're so insulated from consequences.
I do think you were right about that. Yeah, they're treating the video game creation process like a business.
Like it's a hedge fund.
And you can't, I mean, it is a business. We know that at its core, this is for money. But all the good games are just people who love what they do, making what they love, doing something interesting, trying some new things. And these games are coming out and doing amazing. And that's what we need. If you're a big company and you are, I'm telling you, you have to make a single player game that is just fun to play. That's it. If you have an IP, don't do the Star Wars thing that they just did with Outlaws. Make a fun action game that people want to play. Those games are successful over and over and over again. Warner Brothers has so many IPs. They could make a good action fun game with a spin on whatever character it was, with like their combat in the world, make a 20-hour game, and people would probably really enjoy it. But instead they're just trying to like just find a successful game over the last 8 years and be like, just copy that and do exactly that, but just like put a Warner Brothers whatever IP skin on it. And you're like, that's not it. That's not it.
If you have $100 million to blow on a bet, like Suicide Squad was one thing. I mean, that's a tried and tested franchise. There's 2 movies in it. There's a spin-off franchise with John Cena, and releasing a game in that franchise within a proven genre makes sense. Like, I could see investing $200 million. This other one is insane. If you have $100 million on a bunch of IPs, you could go find 100 indie studios that would welcome $1 million. If you have that type of money to burn, and your creative choice is to just make the biggest game and just shove a ton of money at one thing, you're bad at your job. You're bad at business.
You know what they should do? I just thought of it. You know what they should do? We're kind of in like backwards world because we recorded the next 2 episodes already, but you're going to hear about them later. But JD's going to talk about a game called Alien 50 or something, like UFO 50.
Yeah.
That's what they would do with these IPs.
That's what I'm saying. If you
just make 50 little games inside of one with like, here's our weird Rick and
one
Morty
Do you think they spent $1 million of development costs on UFO 50? Because I can guarantee you they fucking didn't. That's one developer with less than $1 million. They make 50 fucking unique indie games. That's exactly what the stuff I'm talking about. But instead, you just point to a huge franchise, Smash Brothers, that's been around for 20, 30 years. And you're like, we'll just do that. We'll just do that with these things. It's something that's like so simple. You could write it on a cocktail napkin and then you spend $100 million on it. It is fucking mind-blowing.
Oof, that is 100 million. My jaw dropped when you said that.
I can't believe that shit. All right, put on your biblets. It's time for riblets.
Nice.
We're just gonna get a little bit of sauce on your fingers. These news stories, they're not gonna fill you up.
Actually, these ones are a little dry.
You're gonna have to order
know.
extra rolls.
Yeah,
because you're gonna be hungry after these. Stardew Valley's creator just can't give it up. Yeah, this is an interview with Nintendo Life, the genius behind Stardew Valley. What is his name?
Concerned Ape, or what was his real name?
Yeah, Concerned Ape. That's what it is.
Yeah, Eric Baroni.
Oh yeah, but Concerned Ape is what everyone knows him as.
Yeah.
He says, this is just a quote from the interview that was pertinent. I have so many ideas for Stardew. I feel like I could work on it for the rest of my life and just keep improving it, adding more stuff to it, more content, fleshing out the existing content. That's the main thing I want to do is flesh out the existing content. And okay, here's another thing. It's so popular. It's a rare opportunity I have that there's so many people who love this game and will play whatever update I make. Basically saying, I'll stop making it if you idiots stop playing it. Like, he is so hooked on this game and fleshing out content. What is he talking about? That game is very fleshed out.
It's got
I
so
didn't
much
think like, oh, I wish they had like more storylines for the characters. I'm like, the storylines are great. Everything is fleshed out. What is he talking about? He's gonna flip this guy. I don't know. In this picture, he looks 30, maybe 35. He's gonna spend 35 plus more years fleshing out this game that's already so robust and rich.
This guy, I just realized he is the Brandon Sanderson of indie devs. He can't help it. He literally can't help it.
No, because if he was Brandon Sanderson, he would have already made 3 Haunted Chocolatier games, and he'd have a podcast or 2 about how to make a video game.
It does take longer to make a game and make it playable than it does to write a book.
Mm-hmm.
You can just write and then write and reiterate on that. But yeah, but this guy, like, but
he just loves it.
He loves it. And honestly,
give him $1 million.
This is the type of stuff that makes me smile about video games. And we've talked about Concerned Ape so many times, but this guy really is like the paragon of indie game devs. This is who you want everyone to be, because he can't stop because he loves it so much.
He's not trying to make money. He's trying to make a good video game.
He's made his money and he's like, fine. And he's like, because they said in the article, he said he sold 30 million copies of Stardew Valley.
Dude, even at $1 a pop, which we know is not $1, that is an insane amount of money.
He's not like, he doesn't have like a whole team. He doesn't have 500 people that he's paying to make this game. He's just like doing stuff. And he also, like, I love to hear the concern about his fans. He's like, all these people play it and they love it. Like,
I release something new and they all play it. So why would I stop releasing?
I gotta make more. Like, they like it. And so, like, yeah, you do this for the
thing that I come on this podcast all the time and weep about, which is lost gaming communities when they close up a server and get rid of it. That is what drives Concerned Ape. Is he never wants to look and be like, that game I created, there's only 20 people playing it on Steam right now. That makes me sad. He is this guy. I love this guy. Let's see. A lack of PS5 Pro shortages has meant that some scalpers are reselling them at a loss. His eBay listings in Japan and Europe for the PS5 Pro console are many of which are now below MSRP. I didn't see any from the US, but yeah, these are people that went out and bought these $700 consoles or more. I think it's like $1,000 in Japan. I don't fucking know. With the idea of, we're going to resell these. We're going to ride that gravy train that we did with the original PS5.
Well,
we're going to make a ton of money.
Scalpers often too, I think why we haven't really had this pop up so much recently. We've harped on it in the past, but they will they use bots to buy all of the stuff that shows up available online. So I've seen people like in Utah that have 20 PlayStations and then they're scalping all of them. We can't get our hands on one, but this guy's got 20 because he's just got bots buying them up the second they become available online. So this is why it's so. This isn't like some kid went and bought one and then now he's trying to make a little money selling it. These are like guys who have 20 in their garage.
Yes, which is
now
ridiculous.
They're losing money on it, and
because
that makes me happy.
It's insane because the scalpers are only selling them for an extra couple like $100, right?
Yeah. No, yeah.
Oh, you have 20 in your garage. You just made like $2,000. That is not a good job. Sorry, you're not making that much money. It's ridiculous.
Yep.
Phasmophobia devs have responded to fan requested license IP DLC, and they don't want to put Ghostbusters in their game. However, this headline buries the lead that they are open to the other games that would fit. They didn't think that Ghostbusters fit the tone of Phasmophobia, but other IPs might.
Well,
Can you think, Peter? I put this on there because you played this
yeah,
game a bunch.
it's not a ghost busting game either. Like they need to understand that. Like it would be fun, but in Ghostbusters, they're going in to take care of ghosts. In Phasmophobia, you're just going in and identifying ghosts. You are a ghost hunter, like those stupid ghost hunter TV shows. That's what you are doing. And so it's just a little scarier because the ghosts sometimes kill you. So I think things that would fit more. Oh, I don't know. Are there any like? I'm not into horror genre. So like, I don't know what would fit this tone better. But
they didn't mention any like specific things.
yeah, I mean, I can't think of. Maybe you would put in like a ghost that like a famous or like some sort of like horror creature. You could make a ghost of that. But again, you don't want to take away from the tone of the game. The tone of the game really is that especially when you first start playing, it's scary, it's spooky, it's freaky.
Yeah.
And you don't want to take away from that by adding like Jason's in it now. You know what I mean? The ghost of Jason.
And I think that was their concern, is that
Yeah.
like we're gonna kind of dilute our game because some dorky fans on Discord want us to put Bill Murray in it.
And the real problem though the game has, for me at least, is I played 20 something hours of it and then I was kind of like done because the novelty had worn off. I wasn't scared anymore.
Mhm.
It wasn't that spooky. Even when you get a new map, you're like, here we go, and it's like hard and a little spooky and scary. After you've done it 3-4 times, you're like, yeah, it's not scary anymore. Because again, it's not real. There's no stakes. And so that's when the novelty wears off. The people on Discord are the people who are still sinking 100 hours into it, 200, 300 hours. And they're like, I can't get enough Phasmophobia. Let's just add more content, zany content. They're not scared of it anymore. There's a mode where you have to identify the ghost without going in and doing any of the like documenting any of the proof of what type it is. Like that's how good they are. They just know what it is based on how it's acting. So those are the people who want more. I'm not that person.
No. The last thing here is a little bit of JD sales report. Pokemon trading card game Pocket is earning over $3 million a day.
Wow.
With $12 million to date. This is, I mean, that was an older story, so it's probably much more than that. This was off of $11 million downloads so far. And firm App Magic estimates it's been earning about $3 million a day and has made over $12 million in just 4 days, with 45% of all sales coming straight out of Japan.
That's crazy. But you know what? Also, important to note, this game has no ads. Very important to note that
nice.
it was free to play.
Sales.
Yeah, this is just sales. And we talk about it in one of the later episodes, but they could even, in my opinion, do better with their monetization system. JD touches on that in another couple of weeks or something like that. But yeah, they could do better. So 3 million a day, though, that's great. Great for them. Pokemon is a moneymaker, though. Pokemon's a money printer.
Oh my gosh, so much fucking money.
Kudos.
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 All right, kudos, our positivity segment, which we needed, I thought, this week because we basically all the news was terrible. There's nothing good.
It wasn't great. I know the Stardew Valley stuff was good.
Oh, yeah,
those are riblets, though. Yeah.
I have 2 kudos. I'll do the first one really quick. I went shopping because I'm going on a work trip. I'm going to be working in a bakery for like 8 hours a day. So, and I don't have laundry. Well, I assume maybe there's on-site laundry in my hotel, but I'm not going to do fucking laundry, like a pair of shorts. So I had to go get more work shorts. And I was like, where am I going to get work shorts? And so I thought, discount store. I don't know. I don't do a lot of shopping. I don't buy a lot of clothes in general. I like to buy really nice clothes that last for like 5-10 years, and then I don't have to buy clothes. But work clothes are kind of different because you just hammer the shit out of them. You wash them on like
gross and stuff.
Yeah, they get gross, and so you just don't give a fuck about those. So I went to Ross. I've gone to Ross before for like tank tops and stuff, but man, it's so awesome. I got just random shit that I needed. Like I needed a strainer for all the deep frying I've been doing, like one of those little like Scooby
Yeah.
things.
Mhm.
And I've been wanting one, but you go on Amazon, you can get one for like $5. You're like, okay, is that worth like a truck driving to my house? Probably not. You see them at Target, they're like $12 and all this. No, dude, I go in for like $3, just hanging on a rack, just some off brand. There's a lot of like brand name shit. I sound like a fucking Kohl's ad right now. The other place we went was Sierra Trading Post. I don't think there's a lot of them.
Yeah,
But
I love that place. Straight
yeah.
up.
Oh, amazing. Like every fucking thing in there was like a quality piece. A lot
Yeah.
of like outdoors brands and things.
So I bought when I was going to London, I was like, it rains a lot, like we're gonna be out and about. So I went and bought some like pants that are a material that dries a little bit faster because we were gonna go hiking as well and on the Irish coast. And so I was like, I need good hiking pants. My two favorite pairs of pants that I picked up, I just picked them up there randomly on a whim. I was like, oh, they were $15 each at Sierra Trading Post. That was 2 years ago, a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
I wear them all the time. It's and I like the way they fit. That was the other.
And there
piece.
was probably like $20.
Yeah, they're $15 each.
$15.
So, yeah.
Yeah, dude. And my shorts were, I think, $12. I got a shirt. It's just like a dorky shirt that says like pickleball world champion or something, but it's got, and it looks like the MLB or the NBA logo, but it's a pickleball player, but it's also Sasquatch. And I was like, oh, this is perfect for my dad. And it was $10 or something like that. So I was like, oh yeah, that's a great, like just a gag gift for Christmas, just like as an add-on. Jenna and I were leaving the store and she's like, dude, I think they may have forgotten to charge me for something. Or wait, that shirt was $1.
Nice.
It was so heavily discounted, it ended up just costing $1. And I was like, dude, this is so fucking tight. I love those stores.
So let me tell you, I go there often because I have 4 kids. So it's funny because
genius.
all the people listening right now with kids are like, yeah, we go there all the time because like kids.
Yeah, see, I don't have kids.
Kids beat the crap out of stuff.
Yeah.
And so if my son's like, oh, I need a light jacket.
Ross.
I'm like, I'm gonna go look there first because somebody
Mhm.
gets hit or miss, right? You're not gonna get exactly what you want all the time. But we're gonna go there first. Let's see. I just bought Lily yesterday. I was there yesterday, JD. She needed a new pair of shoes.
We were both there yesterday.
And I was like, freak, like I don't have time to go. It was like late. I was like, I don't have time to go somewhere. We're driving past the Ross. So I went, got her a pair of Reeboks. They always have Reeboks there for whatever reason. Pretty nice, but they were like $15 or something like that. Because little kids chew through shoes. I mean, I bought her those shoes she was wearing earlier this summer, and now there's her toe was sticking out because they drag their toes behind on their bikes when they stop and stuff. Dude, they just
what are
chew
brakes?
them up. So
if you have shoes,
pants, shoes, and jackets I buy at Ross because they don't last. The kids either grow out of them or they don't last long enough for me to ever buy anything nice. So yeah, we go to Ross quite a bit.
Yeah. And Sierra Trading Post is just like fancy Ross. It was awesome.
Oh, and then let me give a quick plug for if you want something a little bit nicer, even Uptown Cheapskate. I don't know if you've ever seen that one.
Yeah.
That's where people turn in. It's like the DI or the Savers or so people put in their clothes, but they're nice. I think I don't know if we talked about this on the podcast or not, but we happened to see one and they had a street sale going on, just like 50 boxes, big boxes outside full of clothes. And you're just people just digging through them. And they had like a grocery sized bag, fill one bag up for $25. We bought 60 items for $50.
Dude, it's all about. That's what I'm all about.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love that shit. I got some good work shorts and a strainer, which I'm really happy about.
If you need like crappy clothes, that's the first place to look. Guaranteed. You got to go there first.
Yep. And shoes. I got some work shoes at Nordstrom Rack the other day, and they were awesome. They've been great. Oh, do you have any more? Do you have one? I have one more.
I just have one real quick, and I'll post the recipe. I'll have to type it up. Okay, so my mom has this jambalaya recipe. And I'll start off by saying this is not real jambalaya. Everyone's going to freak out. Snorgle's going to yell at me. It's not real jambalaya. It is red, but that's because it's got tomatoes and tomato sauce. I understand jambalaya is not made with tomatoes. This is my mom's. I don't know where she got it. Old jambalaya recipe. We've been making it forever, and I always forget about it. And then I just remembered, made it last night. It is incredible. Genuinely, it's so good. You serve it over rice. It's a little soupy.
Yeah.
Serve it over rice. I ate some today as well, and every time I eat it, it's phenomenal. It's probably a lot healthier than jambalaya is. There's nothing unhealthy in it. It's got like little bits of ham and then
I
and
love
chicken.
those ham bits. Yeah.
It's a ham and chicken, and that's again the rest is just veggies and seasonings. It's so good. I should post it.
Yeah.
It's a
Why are
good.
you still talking about posting it? Just post it.
It's a good meal to make for like a family, for a group. It makes amazing leftovers. It tastes phenomenal. I'm not joking. I love it more than anything. I'll post it on here on our Discord.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm stoked. I want to make that. Last one I have here is for a YouTube channel. I swear to God, I talked about it in this podcast before, but I couldn't find it in the notes. So if I have, I'm sorry, but otherwise, I just think it's so great. It's called Summoning Salt. This is along with my interest in speed running, not doing it, not even really watching streams, but reading about it and watching like summary videos. Summoning Salt does these like historical recap videos of speed runs of specific games, like a speed run of his Tetris one is legendary. And I would really recommend if you're
I think that was the one you talked about.
Yeah. If you are interested in anything to do with like Tetris, and that wasn't a speed run as much as a high score thing. But he just like documents the history of video game achievements, essentially. And he does such an amazing job with his editing, where he's got clips of the game. He's got amazing music that's always like fitting. Like if some speedrunners, there's this one part where he was trying to set this high score and he was doing this really, stressful thing. Like his music's going to reflect that. And it feels so cool. And it's just like an hour plus documentary. I mean, these things are
I was going to say, like, these are real. These aren't like
yeah.
YouTube shorts. These are like
it's an hour and a half.
An hour and the Tetris one is 2 hours long.
And it's honestly like you get sucked into it and you're just watching Tetris and like the graphics he puts up on the screen and stuff. And you're like, damn, why am I so fascinated by this? Summoning Salt. Check it out on YouTube if you're looking for a new gaming YouTube long form shit, something to have on in the background. I watch it while I do laundry. He's so awesome. I can't get enough. He just did a new one. That's why I saw top of mind for me on Simpsons Hit and Run and the history of speed runs in Simpsons Hit and Run. And if you played Simpsons Hit and Run, you're like, a speed run? What the fuck are you on? Yeah, you got to watch it because that's the first part of the video is that for 10 years after that game came out, everyone's like, you can't speed run this game. Why would you speed run this game? There's no point. You have to collect 3,600 point coins that are just randomly scattered through the game in order to beat it. Why would you even get started? And then 10 years later, someone started doing it, and then it just got crazy. So, Summoning Salt, YouTube. Check that shit out.
Forget the metaverse. We're going IRL.
IRL. Unplug.
Plug into real life.
Plug into the real world. IRL.
All right, IRL.
We got to get Danny back.
I know.
I just moved in now. I was thinking about it the other day, but we're so this next few episodes is like we've already recorded, so it's such a mess. So once we get back, maybe we'll get her in December. Let's do it.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Anyway, IRL is a segment we do where we compare a real life thing with video games. And this week, because we're all heading out of town, mine's not really a vacation. I keep calling it a vacation. I don't think that's accurate. I'm going
traveling
on a trip. I'm working the whole fucking time.
I'm going on vacation. You're not.
Peterson's going on vacations to Middle Earth. We're doing IRL vacations.
I'm going to Middle Earth. You're going to the butthole of the earth.
Oh my God, seriously, Florida. I'm sorry, Florida. First one, I figured I'd just start off because get this thing rolling, I wanted to talk about travel exhaustion. I have a feeling I'm going to have it. We've been doing so many things today. I'm already just to get out of town. I've been up since like 6, 7, just doing stuff nonstop all day. I'm so tired. And I know I'm going to be traveling all day and I'm going to get in there and be fucking exhausted. You got to get a rental car. You got to drive. You got to learn how to drive in a new state. Like these toll roads. What the fuck is that shit? And then I've got to check into a hotel and do all this crap. I'm going to be exhausted. I'm going to be very tired. And
JD, I have to learn. I had to go onto a website and learn their road signs that are different than ours.
in Florida or
No, in New Zealand because
New
I'm
Zealand?
driving.
Yeah, because
a
you're driving.
lot.
That's fun.
Oof.
Yeah,
Anyway.
you're going to be tired too. 18 hours on a plane.
Oh my gosh.
So for me, travel exhaustion reminded me a lot of trying to play a multiplayer game on launch day. The day it comes out, everything's going wrong. Nothing works right. And you're just tired. You just want to do this basic thing, which is to play the game. And for travel, you just want to do this basic thing, which is get from point A to point B. And if things do work as expected, if your flight does land on time, you're like celebrating for the bare minimum. You're like, oh, I got to where I was going. I'm like, so
did it.
yeah, yes. Like if you can actually get in a match on the day that this game comes out, you're like, fuck yeah, thank God. That's exactly how I feel about travel. Traveling is it beats me up sometimes. I'm not saying I'm like not a good traveler or I'm a whiner, but sometimes, man, when I hit that hotel and it's like 8 p.m., I'm
It's
going
nice
to
to hit that
bed.
hotel.
Going to fucking bed.
I actually did that same thing, kind of. So I did it too. Like actually doing the act of traveling to your destination. It's like you're like, especially if you're going on vacation, like I'm going to New Zealand. I'm stoked to be in New Zealand. But you know what? I have to spend a whole day getting there. And that's going to be the worst day of the whole trip. And so actually traveling to the destination, if I'm going to, you got to go on a road trip, you got to do the drive, right? You got to go through the airport, got to take the flight. I did almost the same exact thing. That's major day one patches because it essentially wastes a whole day. You're like, I got this game ready to play, ready to go. And then you've got a 40 gig patch, 100 gig patch. And you're like, okay, well, I'm not going to play tonight. I'm just going to patch the game. And that's your first day of vacation. Really, if you're a working person, that's your first day of vacation.
Yep.
My first day of PTO is travel. And so that sucks.
Yeah.
And so just like the day one patch, I wanted to play. Gotta download that patch first.
I've got one. The
Go.
familiar family vacation spot. I feel like a lot of families, especially larger families, it's easiest if you just have a place you always go. I always go to Bear Lake. We always go to Park City. We always go Jacksonville. Wherever you go, that's just easy because you can all drive there. It's within driving distance, and people with big families can get there. Everyone can kind of filter in, or like a family cabin, something like that. This is for me having the same old game that you always come back to. It's easy. You don't need to think about it. You know where you're gonna have a good time. We always go to the lake. Same time every year. Family vacation at the lake. Even packing's easy. The same shit. Hell, half the stuff is still up at the cabin. Life Vest, we don't need to pack those. Those are already there. The computer rig might change. Your family might change, but dude, that family vacation spot is always going to be the same. FTL is always going to be the first game I install on a new computer. It's just the old, familiar, easy way to do it.
It's funny. I almost did that same one, but with a very different spin because my family does not take the same vacation. That would be a sin.
Yeah.
The same vacation over and over. When I have coworkers,
but of that concept. Like you definitely know people that are always
no, and I
Trent goes to Disneyland like 3 fucking times a year.
No. And look, I'll be honest, I silently judge those people. I don't say anything. Like I'm happy that they're happy, but also I'm like, well, you're wasting all your time. You've been there. Why are you going to go there again? You've already been there before. Okay, so I got another one. Travel snacks. You go on a trip.
Funyuns.
I get those snacks. I got a little bit of beef jerky. It's usually salty snacks for me, but then I've got usually some kind of gummy candy for my kids. They love gummy candy. When I say a little bit, I've got a gigantic bag of gummy worms, like the biggest one I could find. Yeah, but like double that.
Oh shit.
No, it is like fistfuls of gummy worms.
Amazing.
No, just like travel snacks. They're great, right? You're like, that's part of it. You're like, man, like I'm excited to go, but like
I get
also,
Mentos in the airport every time, and they're like $3
That's
now.
funny.
But I have to have airport Mentos.
dude, there's like a thing, and like you kind of look forward to it in like a stupid, weird way, especially when you're a kid, like road trips. You're like, oh, dude, we're gonna eat like crap, and it's gonna be awesome. For me, this is joining the subreddit of your current game of the month. It's not why you play the game, but it's just a fun little extra
Dude,
that
that's
you
so
seriously
funny.
enjoy.
Yes.
Because honestly, especially the littler the game, the better, right?
Yeah.
Like the subreddits for these games,
They're like Brotato and the subreddit.
so great.
Oh my god, they're so funny and they're quirky. The FTL subreddit, not that one's like that small, but like the like you see a meme that 30 people upvote and you're like, oh, that meme that was amazing. That just feels better.
I'm on the Omega Strikers subreddit. I still play the game. I'm not good. And honestly, when I'm playing against like the same people. Like I'm to the point, there's not enough players in the game. I'm to the point where I will log in 3 days later and I'll see a guy that I recognize because like the community is so small. And so like being on that subreddit is so fun. People posting videos. Like I mentioned this before, but the Marvel Midnight Suns subreddit is so great. It's just people being so happy that they found the game and loving it. I don't know. The subreddits are always a good time. And if you love the game and it's especially a small game, they're so fun. So that's the travel snacks. It's not the reason why you do it, but it's
a bonus.
A little bonus. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. My last one that I've got is vacation shopping. When you're like, God, I want to get on a plane. I just want to get out. I want to go on a trip. And you're browsing. I mean, I use Travel Zoo. I get a couple email digests from.
You mean like shopping for your vacation?
Yes. When you're like, where am I going to go? And what's cheap? And this feels so much to me like window shopping Steam games. Because 99% of the time I am looking at a vacation online and I send them to you sometimes. I'm like, look how cheap this trip is, or look how cheap these flights are. I'm not going to go. Just like with Steam, when I add I have like 80 games on my wish list and I'm always browsing them and I'm looking through them and I'm like, oh, I don't
want any of those.
Yeah, I don't want those. So, yeah, if they're a little bit cheaper, maybe I'd buy those games. If the flight was a little bit less steep, maybe I'd go to.
If I had the time for it, you know what I mean? Like it'd be great to have the time for that. I just don't have time.
Yeah, I'm always. It just feels the same. It's just like window shopping. It's like the shopping is actually the joy I'm getting from it. The idea of like fantasizing going to that cool resort in Thailand, which I could afford if I didn't want to eat for like 3 months.
If my kids didn't want to eat. I'm not feeding you. I'm going to Thailand.
And I get food at Ross because that's the prices I need for food in order to go on this trip.
Food at Ross.
Those are all the ones that I had.
I've got 3 more. I can go through them pretty quick.
Yeah.
Getting back from vacation. So you always get back from vacation, and honestly, especially if you like have an office job, you're like more tired and more behind than when you left. Like it was great to be there, but then you get back and you're like tired. And, you know what I mean? But also like you just can't stop thinking about vacation, right? You're just like, man, that was awesome. That was so great. Now I got to work and like this sucks. That's finishing a gigantic game, especially a single player game, and you just can't recapture that high. It's over.
Ooh.
It's done. Yeah. And like you look for similar games and there's nothing good, and you're just like, or you played them all already. You're just like, I can't chasing that vacation high. It's over.
I'm never gonna play a game like Raft again.
You're gonna play League of Legends some more. Like, forget it. You're gonna hate it. You log back into League and you're playing it again.
Yep.
That's it. let's see. Oh, this one's just a little cheeky one. Because I was looking up. I can't remember what I was looking up. It wasn't about New Zealand. New Zealand's so great, but people going on vacation and getting scammed by the locals. So going on vacation and getting scammed by the foreigners in video games. That's buying a video game and getting scammed by the foreigners who made the game. The Chinese company who's doing a gotcha game. Who are just trying to like bilk you for every penny on every turn. And you're like, please stop. I just want to be here. I don't want to buy your bracelet that you gave me. I don't want to
Why
buy
did you tie it so tight on my wrist? I can't walk away now.
And then the last one. This is also a silly one. Cruise ships. If you've ever been on a cruise ship is a real life video game lobby.
Okay.
There's like way too many people just like being gross, like everything's gross and like people are gross, just like in lobbies, like people talking, it's horrible. But also like just teenagers, like so many teenagers just like running around.
It's like, what if Walmart was a big boat that you were trapped on at all times?
Climbing on everything. That's what a cruise ship is, especially the main deck where the pool is. It's just like chaos of gross and teenagers just running around jumping, and that's honestly a video game lobby. It's like people saying gross stuff, and then you see some guy dressed like Dwayne The Rock Johnson just jumping around, doing 360s, climbing up on top of the battle bus or whatever,
teabagging Cardi B.
Oh man, so that's cruise ships are real life game lobbies. If you haven't been on a cruise, just log into a game lobby and be like, oh, it's like a Fortnite lobby is a good example of that. So
Nice.
that's it.
That's it. All right, guys, jump on Discord. Tell us your IRL vacation stories. What have you done on a vacation that reminds you of video games, or when you're playing a game, what makes you think of your vacations? If you can afford vacations, Lord knows I can't.
Dice of Destiny.
Dice of Destiny is this game where we roll a 20-sided dice that has 20 different game genres assigned to it, and then we have to find a game in that genre. Last couple weeks ago, I rolled a horror game. I rolled a 6 on a dice, which meant I had $60 to spend on it, and I went with Little Nightmares 2. It's an indie game. It's obviously a sequel to another indie game called Little Nightmares that was really well received. Both of them are overwhelmingly positive on Steam. A couple of them, got a couple awards, and yeah, this is a big deal. Little Nightmares, people love this game. So I was like, I got to try this game out. Kind of reminded me of Limbo that I played in like 2010 or something on the Xbox Live Arcade. Kind of had that similar vibe. It is a side-scrolling horror game. Very atmospheric, very dark, and kind of brooding. One thing that's kind of neat about this is instead of just being a straight up left to right side scroller, it has a lot of depth. If you think about like a beat 'em up game like Streets of Rogue, or Streets of Rage, like an older game where you could walk up and down on the street. Well, with this one, you can actually walk back into the backgrounds essentially. So if you walk past an alley on this side-scrolling game, you can actually just turn and go up into the alley in some cases, which is kind of fun. It makes the game feel a lot more alive, and it's just a really novel, not that novel, honestly. It's called 2.5D, and they've been doing it for a long time, but it was just kind of cool.
It looks really cool. Like the art of it and all that stuff looks creepy and cool.
It's beautiful. It really is beautiful. It's very much got an indie game look to it, and so what I would say is I think it's black and white for the most part. It's black and white, right?
No,
really
it's
really eerie,
muted colors. It's
muted
not black
colors.
and white, but they're muted.
And this is a puzzle platformer, so it's a side-scrolling puzzle platformer with just spots of combat here and there. Running away from monsters here and there, because it is kind of that survival horror feeling. Very simplistic controls and gameplay. There's like a jump and a grab, and like you can carry things and then throw them. and then like occasionally you have like a little flashlight that you can use. Run to the left, to the right. You explore rooms. You pick up something one at a time, and you carry it over here. Then carry something over there. Just kind of rinse and repeat. So that's the basics of the game. And I probably put 10, 15 hours into it.
Yeah, I saw you playing it a lot.
Yeah, I'm about halfway through the game. I'd say maybe a little bit over halfway through. And I think I'm done. I think I'm done with it. And I think this is sad because, I mean, Snorgle's here in our chat, and he said he loved it. Jackson loved it, and he's the one that recommended it to me. But I just could not get into this game. I had so many struggles. Like, I wanted to love it because it checked a lot of boxes for me. But at the end of the day, I just ended up being pretty disappointed because a couple of things, and I'll just get into my nits here. It felt more like it's billed as a puzzle game, and it felt like a brute force game. It's not just like trying to be clever and figure things out. It didn't feel like it. It felt like you walk into a room and you get killed instantly by some jump scare. And then you're like, oh, so I need to walk into the room and do something different. So it's kind of got like the, what was that Tom Cruise movie, Edge of Tomorrow feel.
Edge of
like
Tomorrow.
I'm just going to walk in and get murked. And then I'm going to walk in and slightly go to the left and see if I get murked. Oh, I got murked a little bit later. So I'm going to do that. And it didn't, like, there are, not to diminish, there are some puzzles. There are some moments where I felt clever. I was like, ooh, I figured that out pretty easy. But again, it just didn't feel very puzzly. It's just doing things just the wrong way until you figure out the right way to do them. The janky controls were not my favorite. Sometimes they made you redo. I had to redo a certain segment. Now, to be fair, the cuts or the checkpoints were awesome in this game. Every time I died, I didn't necessarily feel like, oh, I'm going to have to redo all this shit. But even that said, there were sometimes I died like swinging on a rope and having to jump off the rope at just the right time and then grab the ledge. Those moments where if you missed, it was just so fucking frustrating. And I'm like, what am I getting out of this? From a gameplay, this isn't like a fun thing for me. Like as a platformer, if I'm fighting the controls more than I'm fighting the game, I'm not having fun. And the story, which I know everyone lauded this one and the story in the first one, and they have these crazy twists. It just didn't hook me. It made so little sense, and it seemed more just like a vehicle for the gameplay. It just kind of pulled me out. There were so many whys in the world, the game world. I was just asking why. Wait, why is that? Why is that? The very first part of the game, you're in like the woods, and there's like you run into like this shack. And you're like this little tiny person. You're a child, I guess, ostensibly. But it's like if I don't know, like an 8-9-year-old child came up to your knee. And that's like the scale of you when you go into this shack and like the chairs and all the other things. So you're like I was like, oh, so are these like elven people? Are these like fairies? Is there something going on where like this mystical, are there two races? Because you run into the guy, the proprietor of the shack, and he just wants to eat you. And so he starts chasing you. You free this girl, this little girl that's the same age or whatever size as you. And you run away from him in this very frantic scene, which is awesome. And you run through another shack and you run into this, she's barricading the door, and you run and grab a rifle off the wall and you level it, and she helps you hold it up while you run back to the back of the gun and pull the trigger right as the guy comes in and you kill him. And I thought, fuck yes. I was like, this is so cool. The idea of like these little fae people being like invading like the humans' world or whatever the fuck, and then using their own weapons against them. I was like, I don't know where we're going with this, but this is so awesome. And then you and this little girl, you get on a door and you float across a river and you go into this city, and then like none of that matters. And you're like, why are we in this city? Everything is trying to kill us. I don't understand. Like, there's a school full of porcelain school children, and they're all like cursed. Seems like they just want to kill you. And then they have this teacher who's like this evil adult teacher, and she's got like a really long neck. So she like chases you with her head through like pipes and things that you're running away from her. And it's terrifying. It's like really scary and spooky, but I'm like, why? Like, I don't necessarily need to know the spooky teacher's motive or her backstory. I just want to understand where she fits in this world. Why do people want to eat me? Why am I so small? Because the school seems to indicate that children in this world are just itty bitty. And then at some point in their development, I guess, in their teens, they just like shoot up
Really blow
by like
up.
500%. Their pituitary glands just go fucking ape shit for like 2 years, and then they're normal sized. I was just like, maybe I was fixating too much on the wrong things. But when I get lost and I can't get into the story, and the game seems to be fighting me, and I just was so sick of replaying the same segments over and over again, so you pick up a pipe, for example, and you're really little, or a sledgehammer in one instance, and you're using a sledgehammer as a weapon. Well, it takes your whole body weight to swing that thing one time, and then another enemy comes, and you have to hit, and there's this segment where you have to hit 4 enemies in a row, and there's no room for error with this sledgehammer. You have to just like, it's like a quick time event, honestly, but without the little button hint, and you have to do everything perfectly right. And if you don't, you die, and they jump on you, and but you respawn right there, and you get to try it again. It's not like a huge checkpoint, but I was like, am I having fun doing this? And I was like, absolutely not. And then there's no story really driving me through it. And I was just like, why won't you let me love you? Why can't I love you? So Little Nightmares 2 was not a hit for me. I would say wait for a sale if
bummer.
you're into it. For sure, it goes on sale a bunch, and it gets really cheap sometimes, like $3-5. I think it gets stupid cheap. So definitely worth a try if you liked Limbo, if you like these type of games. Definitely scary. I mean, perfect time of year for like a horror game like this. There were jump scares, there was creepy crawlies, there were I mean, the teacher was spooky. There's like some doctor that's freaky as fuck. But it just wasn't enough for me, dude. I don't know. It was just,
Okay.
I don't know. It just was
Well,
not enough. So
Yeah.
you have one though. You rolled last week. You rolled a JRPG,
yeah.
full price, $60 or more. And do you have a pick finally for us?
Yeah, so this one was actually kind of hard, and there was a bunch of JRPGs that I was like, because there have been some really good ones that have come out this last year or so that are very good, like overwhelmingly positive. I thought I would like suck it up and play. Oh gosh, what's it called? Metaphor Refantasio. Because that's like the big game that's out right now. It just came out a month ago. Really big, good reviews. However, I was like, I'm going to play that one. Can't play
easy.
it because I'm going to be playing largely on the Steam. I'm going to be playing this on the Steam Deck.
Oh.
And it had that like question mark symbol on the Steam Deck compatibility. And so I was like, I'm not going to buy it. It's a $70 game. This is a full price game. I'm not going to buy a $70 game and not be able to play it on my vacation. So then I was looking at games like that. And a weird amount of these JRPGs, which doesn't seem like a hard genre for the Steam Deck, had that question mark. And I was like, so I'm digging through, like trying to find this game, found a few. And then eventually I was like, I should just go through my Steam library. I know I have some of these that I haven't played, that I've purchased, and that. So that's where I ended up. Kind of disappointed, honestly. I wanted to play Metaphor. I have a buddy.
Did you look at Sea of Stars?
I've played that one.
Oh, you have played it.
I've played Sea of Stars. That's why.
That is for me. The next time I get JRPG, that is such an instant for me. It looks so good. Did you love it? Did you beat it?
I didn't beat it. No, I actually played it. I can't even remember, but I did. I had great things to say about it. I remember. Patrick is saying in the chat, Metaphor is great, literally a must play. I have a buddy who's like, you got to play this. You're going to love it. Right. And I'm like, I know, I do believe that I'll love it. I wish I could play it on my Steam Deck for this vacation, but it's just, I'm not going to, I've played a couple games that have that question mark compatibility, and it does get frustrating sometimes. So I went with a much easier pick, not quite as exciting, but I think I'm going to enjoy it just as much. And this is kind of my JRPG this is like fitting for me what I like in them. It's a game called Dark Deity. Let's see, it came out in 2021. It sells for $25. But a lot of these games are like, these games came out 2 years ago and they were like still $60. Kind of weird.
Mhm.
But Dark Deity, it looks pretty good. It looks pretty classic JRPG. I'm kind of excited to try it out. Like I said, I've had it for a while and it was like, give me an excuse to play it. I'm trying not to let my disappointment in not being able to play Metaphor color my review
Yeah.
of the game, but I'll play it on the plane. You know what I mean? And if it's enjoyable at all, I'll sink a bunch of time into it. So Dark Deity, I already own it. I'm going to download it on the Steam Deck tonight, and along with a bunch of other games. And so yeah, because I got a lot of time with the Steam Deck. So yeah, I'll have a review for that. So like I said, we have recorded the next 2 episodes already, so I'll put those up. So I won't have my review of this in those 2 episodes. It'll be 3 weeks from this episode. So after the Thanksgiving holiday, so we'll be in December when we get that review. But I'll have that review for you, and then we'll get back on track.
Yeah, that'll be fun. So don't get too
You guys are gonna
sad.
like the next 2 episodes. They're good. We had a lot of fun with these episodes, so you guys will like them.
Yeah. So enjoy that, and we will see you guys in like a month, I guess. And we're gonna come back right in the beginning of Blursty season.
Oh yeah,
So start
shoot,
thinking about your
Lord.
Blursties, because
That's
we're gonna
true.
start getting nominees, and we're gonna start cooking on that shit. So
All right.
it'll be fun. All right, well, that's it for this episode. To play us out, we've got the theme from Little Nightmares 2, extra eerie, extra spoopy.
Perfect for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you'll like that. Gobble gobble, motherfucker. All right, I'm
Now,
JD.
what's your Thanksgiving movie called?
Thanksgiving.
Yes, Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I watched it. It's
that's
like
the one.
45 minutes long. It's perfect. It's a perfect film. I'm JD logging off.
And this is Peterson going AFK.
Okay. Thanks to
everybody.
everyone that jumped on. Very cool.